Immigration enforcement is in full effect, with mass deportations underway all across the country. Mexico and Guatemala have already received flights of migrants, while Colombia initially refused before their president reversed course. Trump had been threatening Colombia with tariffs over the refusal, but those look like they're no longer needed. And here in the United States, things are running smoothly. Border czar Tom Homan is leading the charge in Chicago as he oversees arrests in the Windy City. Well, the DA of Los Angeles says it is now cooperating with federal officials to enforce immigration laws. We are also learning that ICE has made arrests in Atlanta, as the Washington Post is also reporting that the Trump administration wants between 1,200 and 1,500 migrant arrests a day. So far, their efforts are proving to be successful. DA agents in Colorado arrested 50 illegals this morning, including members of the Trinidad gang. Meanwhile, there are other illegals with ties to TDA that were also arrested in San Antonio, Texas, in Nashville, Tennessee. It is believed that they were caught and released at the border by the Biden administration back in 2023. CB Cotton has been tracking this all across the country today for us. CB, to you.
Hi, Molly. Well, on the ground in Chicago, President Donald Trump's expanded show of force on immigration is playing out. ICE announcing the start of targeted operations with the help of 5 other federal agencies, to include ones from the Department of Justice. Now, the scale and scope of the arrest are still not clear, but Fox News is told the first arrest was someone who remained in the country illegally despite having killed a 19-year-old woman while driving under the influence. The Justice Department's acting Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove was on the ground in Chicago today, telling Fox in part, quote, "This morning I had the privilege of observing brave men and women of the department deploying in lockstep with DHS to address a national emergency arising from 4 years of failed immigration policy." Bove also warned that there will be consequences for anyone who tries to stop the deportation efforts. Video obtained by our colleague Matt Finn shows incoming border czar Tom Homan setting the tone for how things will play out.
If they don't want to help, there's no point. I appreciate all the federal agencies being here. Again, first one, all-encompassing operations throughout the nation. We're the first. Let's make this the best.
So while Chicago appears to be the start of multi-agency deportation efforts, we know ICE alone has carried out several raids across the country this week, leading to the arrest of Trinidad gang members, MS-13 gang members, murder and rape suspects, and one known or suspected terrorist. Molly.
CB Cotton, thank you. You know, we had reporting this week right out of Boston. All across the country, we've seen this reporting of ICE bringing in suspects, and now a multi-agency approach. Tom Homan's boots on the ground in Chicago. This is really clearly an aggressive beginning to the promised plans of mass deportation.
And super encouraging, too. I mean, CB just went down the list. Trinidad, MS-13, murder, rape, terrorist. And you're learning that Tom Homan is bringing all the assets of government together to go get those people. That's awesome. Go faster. And that's what President Trump said. He said, apprehend more people every day. Joe, you were quoting some numbers earlier, like 10 to 15 million or 8 million, whatever you want to call it. Number of people have come in over the last 4 years. To actually deport that number of people in a year, you'd have to be getting like 21,000 a day, okay? Yeah. The president's calling for 1,200, 1,500. So he's doing what he said he would do, focusing on the biggest threats first. And if you live in any of these cities, you got to be saying to yourself, I feel just a little bit safer today because the good guys are going after the bad guys.
Yeah, all across the heartland, too, and highlighting Nashville, Tennessee,
right,
with the Trinidad issue. Tennessee is, one of the biggest parts of this as they're going after this gang that has now created a foothold in a multitude of cities all across America.
You don't think Tennessee and think gangs, right? You think New York, you think L.A. This is a 90-10 issue. Right, amazing. I got to meet the 10 sometime. In terms of 90 support getting criminal gangs who came into this country illegally out of here through deportation, 10 support it. Yet, somehow, 148 Democrats would not support the Laken-Riley Act. How do you explain that? Possibly, that's in the House. How do you explain that to any of your constituents? Like, oh, no, actually, I'm against this because why? It's like saying, you know, I'm against cancer research. That's a really bad thing. Like, that's how bad this is. Democrats have to get on board with this because this is why Donald Trump is Donald Trump 2.0 right now in the White House. Right. Immigration was the biggest issue in this campaign, maybe outside of men competing against women in sports, which was very underrated as far as being an issue, and the economy as well. So, look, we have laws. We have to enforce them. 2/3 of the American people, according to like CNN polls, support mass deportation. So get on board or, you know, roll the dice and take your chances, Lisa.
And speaking of getting on board, Colombia has quickly changed its tune as far as allowing migrant flights back in.
Well, yeah, and President Trump gets knocked a lot for his use of tariffs, but this is where it comes in, right? You need that leverage over them to get them to acquiesce. It worked with Colombia. He threatened a 25% tariff on Colombia's imports. And so it worked for him. And we've seen things like there was a Department of Homeland Security intelligence report that Maduro's Maduro regime was releasing prisoners from Venezuela that were coming here via caravans as well. So how many of these countries are going to want to take back, you know, terrorists, gang members, criminals? So you have to have some means to force them to do so. And it has an impact as well. I mean, we even saw at the end of November that Mexico's peso and Canada's dollar dropped after President Trump threatened them with tariffs to get them to step up on illegal immigration. We saw the use of tariffs work during his first administration as well when he threatened Mexico, and then they all of a sudden decided to step up to the plate. So I think he's using it very wisely, and today demonstrated that with Colombia.
By the way, if I could jump in here real quick, Jackie Heinrich reporting that Colombia is now reversed its decision and is now, quote, offering his presidential plans to help, you know, bring deportees from the U.S. back into the country. So it's working.
Little change of tune, right? Yeah.
In less than one day, the guy goes from no deportation flights to my country to we can use my plane to get it done.
Amazing.
And Trump was the guy in the middle of all that. All right, the list of criminal migrants keeps growing. 4 illegals from Chile were arrested Wednesday for breaking into NFL star Joe Burrow's $7 million home earlier this month. Newly released police body cam footage shows one of the alleged criminals, it's crazy, wearing a Bengals hat, which is the team that Burrows plays for. Police also found an LSU shirt on the crooks, which is where Burrow went to college, as well as tools they think were used for the break-in. This is just the latest incident in a string of game day burglaries taking place at the homes of pro athletes like Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Investigators say they have arrested at least 6 South American burglary organizations, including 5 based in Chile. A few months ago, the NFL and NBA and NHL were warned with a memo saying, quote, the FBI has linked some burglaries to South American transnational theft groups that are sophisticated and seemingly well-organized networks that incorporate advanced techniques and technology. How crazy is it that they're wearing the Bengals and LSU gear they stole from the guy? And these gangs are everywhere, Joe. And for years, nobody's done a thing about them. And now we're finally going after, like, the most obvious criminal rings in the country.
It's a big middle finger, right? I'm going to go in, not only steal your home, I'm going to wear Bengals and LSU Tiger gear.
Wear the stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I won a state championship for Wayne Valley in New Jersey, and I'm glad I didn't pursue my dream of playing in the NFL because my home would have been burglarized by now, right? So good thing I stayed off the radar. But it's amazing that it's so brazen now because these folks feel like even if I'm arrested, there's a good chance I'm going to be back out into the street anyway, that they will go after Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Joe Burrow. These guys are the biggest names in the NFL. And they're targeting them specifically because it's a big scalp, right? See, I stole not just from any home, I stole from one of the most popular people in the world home kind of thing in terms of athletes. And this is going to change, I have a feeling, under a Trump administration where crime is going to be dealt with seriously.
Lisa, they felt utterly comfortable under Joe Biden. Like, we can do whatever we want.
It's like those videos with the little kids with chocolate all over their face and their hands. Yeah. Like the parents like, did you eat the chocolate cupcake? And they're like, no. Yeah, they're walking around with the jersey. That's the craziest thing about all of this, Brian, is that the Biden administration allowed this to happen, that we had completely open borders and allowed these criminals to come here to the United States to seed or country to terrorists, to gang members, and the rest of it. And we saw Tom Homan double down on our commitment, the Trump administration's commitment, to not only deport these criminal illegal aliens, but also to extend beyond that on ABC's This Week with Martha Raddatz. And she even pointed out that there's at least 700,000 to 1 million criminal illegal aliens here, grounds for deportation right now. We know there's also at least 1.4 million who have their final deportation number. So that's over 2 million people right there that you could just get out pretty easy. But look, this is something the American people support. The New York Times found that 55% of Americans support deporting all illegal aliens. So now's the time to do it when you still have the juice and you're the first Republican president to get the popular vote in 20 years.
Well, and Molly, the burglary of stars and athletes gets the headlines, but Americans care mostly because they know that they're also victims of this stuff in smaller ways, but no less important. And sometimes it's not just your stuff, it's your life.
Yeah, and the terrible people that'll go and read the paper and find out where the funerals are and then go to the houses of the family members. This is like the high-profile stuff where the athletes are getting their big ticket items taken, and which is surprising because sometimes they have, rather sophisticated systems, and these gangs manage to know how to get past them. But on the smaller scale, you're absolutely right. The American people, the little guy, is also falling victim to these people, because when they can't go after the athlete and the big money and the big score, then they are going to be turning to do what they can and get what they can. Homan on the ground telling Fox News today the national security threats were also taken off. This is from Matt Finn reporting there in Chicago. We're taking off the streets of Chicago, a multi-agency operation today. DOJ, FBI, DEA, ATF. This is big, and it's happening now.
Right.
Also, how lucky are we to have Tom Homan? He's amazing.
Yeah, and how unlucky are we to have J.B. Pritzker, who says, I will fight him on all of this right now. Again, you're taking the 10 side of the 90-10 issue, right?
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.